There used to be a time when Democrats and Republicans could agree that being loyal to the country of the United States, being patriotic was a universal thing, at least in the United States. Universal in terms of, that America, despite its flaws, was a good country, and it was still improving, of course. I'm not saying that the United States was perfect from the get go, but nothing is perfect when you barely start something, right? For example, when you start, let's say, on a project, is it perfect in the beginning? No. You have to do rough drafts, and you have to make edits. Then you have to take away some stuff, and you have to add new stuff in, and then eventually you get to the best paper they can get. Not perfect, but it's a better, it's more improved, or in this case, it's a better improvement compared to the original draft. Consider the history of the United States as just that, a rough draft of an essay. When the founding fathers drafted the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, it was a rough draft. Now, granted, it was a very good rough draft, but was it perfect? No. Over the years, hundreds of years later, we've seen many additions, many takeaways. We've taken stuff out, we've added stuff in, and it's become vastly better compared to the rough draft that we had in the beginning. But it's still not perfect. But I can say I'm pretty sure it's safe to agree that the country has become vastly better over the years compared to when it originally started. Okay? Well, nowadays in 2020, being patriotic has become a one party ideology, right? For example, one side, for example, actually, no. Let's rewind. Let's rewind the clock back, like around, let's say, 2008. Actually, 2007, towards the last, towards the last few, you said, days of the Bush administration. Conservatives and Democrats, they were patriotic, both of them. However, one side would argue that they were more patriotic than the other. Democrats would say they're more patriotic, while Republicans would do the same thing. But the point was they were both patriotic. However, in 2020, being patriotic, loving this country, has now become an issue only seen in one side, and that is the conservatives, the Republican Party. If people usually assume if you are patriotic, you must be a Republican. Why? Because what side is chanting "Death to America"? What side is chanting America's racist and systemically racist, and America is flawed, and America is filled with the blood of slaves and Native Americans? It's not the conservatives. It's the Democrats. It's the leftists. It's the liberals. Now you could say, Carlos, liberals. It's pushing it too far. I'm talking about the hijacked term liberals. I'm talking about the lefties, of course, the leftists. But again, if you don't want me to use liberal, I will not use the term liberal. In this case, I'm talking about the Marxists, the communists, the self-avowed, socialists, for that matter. Usually, for example, another example, I have a hat that says "Proud to be an American" on it, and it basically has all the words in red, white, and blue, and it has on the edge of the cap, right, on the bill. I think it's called the bill or something. I don't know. I don't know what's the official term. But on the edge of the cap, it has the American flag stitched on it, right, from the stars to the stripes. People, when I walk around with that hat, again, it's nothing political. It has no Trump on it, nothing. All it says is "Proud to be an American" on it, and it has the American flag on it. People assume that I'm conservative because of the flag, but in reality, I'm more of a moderate. Granted, center right, and I get more conservative every day, considering all the nonsense the left has been putting on for the last 3 years, 4 years at best, with their nonsense about Orange Man bad. But again, I am not a I am not a hardcore conservative. But even then, being patriotic, I don't view it as a political ideology. I do not view it as an exclusive to one particular form of thinking. Now, ideally, I would prefer that both sides, Democrats and Republicans, would be patriotic. Ever since the whole incident with George Floyd happened, only one side has been saying America is good. America, despite its flaws, is better than it's ever been, which is true. And meanwhile, the other side is saying American flag is bad, cops are bad, firefighters are bad. And that to me is something that is actually rather shocking. Shocking to say the least. Also very heartbreaking. Well, the reason why I'm talking about this is because apparently a high school football team was told that they can't fly a pro-police flag during their 9/11 game. And they did. They did it anyway. They said, nope, we're going to do it because officers died during those attacks. We're going to also honor firefighters. They also got a flag with the red stripe on it too. So they have two flags from what I know: a blue line flag and a red line flag. Because they wanted to honor the police and firefighters who lost their lives during the 9/11 attacks. And what do you think the school responded with? Did they responded with, "Wow, those kids are so brave. Even though we told them not to, they still did it because they want to honor those who lost their lives in the 9/11 attacks." No. You know what happened instead? They got suspended because they decided to honor the police officers and the firefighters who lost their lives on that day, as well as the civilians as well. They always said, "Never forget, never forget." Well, I think it's come to the point where we actually have forgotten. At least the newer generations have. Why? Because if they really did not forget, they wouldn't have voted people like Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib, who are clearly against the fundamental ideas that founded this country. If they truly did not forget, they would have never allowed for people who wished for the downfall of the United States, like Alexander Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders. If they really truly did not forget, these people would have been voting out a long time ago. In fact, Bernie Sanders would have been voted out a long time ago, and Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and AOC would have never made it to Congress. It goes to show you how people have forgotten. Well, let's read the story. High school warned football players not to fly pro police flag during the 9/11 game. They did it. Now they're suspended from the team. A high school in Morrow, Ohio, has reportedly suspended two players from its football team after the players ignored a warning that they could not fly flags honoring first responders during the team's game last week on the anniversary of 9/11. And that to me is actually surprising. Ohio, mind you, it's not California, it's not New York, it's not Washington or Oregon. No, it's Ohio. Last time I checked, Ohio is not as crazy when it comes to the whole leftist ideology, but I guess it's infiltrated them. And that to me is actually very disappointing. The Little Miami high school football team took the field Friday, September 11th. A couple of players carried alongside the American flag a thin blue line and thin red line flags. Local 12 WKRC TV reported. The problem is, the boys had asked the school permission prior to the game, and they were denied and told if they defied the order, there would be consequences. Well, welcome to America, folks. Because last time I checked, this country was founded on rebellion. Right? We were born out of rebellion, to say the least. We decided to say, you know what, we're not going to follow the decisions of a king. I mean, granted, it was a constitutional monarchy, but even then, the whole point is that they did not want to be controlled by a government that, first of all, wasn't even representing their interests, because the colonists were not allowed to be part of parliament. They said, you know what, we're going to create our own government. We're going to allow our citizens to own guns, express ourselves freely, and if you have a problem with it, then y'all can, you know what. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but you get the general gist. Eventually, we sent a Declaration of Independence. We sent it to Britain. They declared war on us, vice versa. And then it resulted in years of bloodshed, and we eventually won. Now, granted, we had some help along the way, mostly from France, but it was worth it, I would say. I would say that the effort was worth it, because if they had done nothing, if they didn't say, okay, Parliament, we will kneel to your needs, we will bend over backwards to satisfy your urges. Actually, that didn't sound right, but you get the point. There would be no United States of America. We would still be British colonies. And in fact, we could have still been just 13 colonies on the East Coast. In reality, over 200 years later, we've literally our country from sea to shining sea. And granted, while we did have some bumps along the way, we've gone a lot better compared to civil rights, compared to the way we treat women, the way we treat children for that matter. And I think to some degree, you could say that it's gone vastly better compared to 200 years ago. 23 years old, a Hispanic. I guarantee you, my life at my age, rewind the clock to, let's say, 1797 in the colonies, my life would have been a little worse. You know, I wouldn't be able to have access to hygiene, right? You know, all the commodities that I have now would have seen as luxury goods. In fact, to some degree, some specific foods that we now eat on a daily basis would have seen as a luxury good. But anyways, let's continue. The players, Brady Williams and Jared Bentley, flew the flags to honor firefighters and police officers on the 19th anniversary of the radical Islamic terrorist attack on September 11th of 2001. The local news station said that Williams' father is a police officer and Bentley's father is a firefighter. Wow! Imagine that. I guarantee you, that those boys' parents, specifically their fathers, are not going to be voting Democrat come November. Why? Because when these boys said, we're going to honor police officers, firefighters, our fathers, our first responders themselves, we're going to honor them for what they did during 9/11, and we're going to pay respect to those who lost their lives trying to save innocent people. And I guarantee you, their fathers are not going to vote Joe Biden. They're going to vote for the party who is saying we respect police officers, we respect first responders, firefighters, etc. And guess which party is saying that right now? The Republicans. Specifically Trump as well. You could say that. But anyways, let's keep going. I was all for it, Bentley said, because my dad is a firefighter, and if he had been killed on 9/11, I would have wanted someone to do it for him. I don't care what my consequences are, William said. As long as my message gets across, I'll be happy. And it has gone across. Okay, so you guys did a good job. The school, if anything, is literally filled with Marxist communists, because if they really did care about honoring the victims of 9/11 and also the people who risked their lives to save those people who were trapped in the Twin Towers, they would have let it happen. In fact, not even that. The kids shouldn't have even asked permission. They shouldn't have asked for permission. But we live in a society where America's racist, where people say the flag itself stands for white supremacy and hatred and bigotry, and you have to ask for permission. Nah, man. If anything, I wouldn't have asked for permission. But again, good on the kids. They said, "Can we do this?" They said no, and they said, "Oh, we'll do it anyway." If anything, they shouldn't have asked for permission in the first place. They were set on doing it. But hey, props to them. The Superintendent Greg Powers just said that the boys' decision to show respect for first responders by flying the flags represented a political point of view. We can't have students who decide to do something anyway after they've been told that they shouldn't be doing it, Power said. We do not want to place ourselves in a circumstance where another family might want a different flag to come out of the tunnel, one that may be one that many other families may not agree with from a political perspective. When Williams was asked by local media if the flags were meant to be a political statement, he responded, "No, not at all. I was doing it to honor the people who lost their lives 19 years ago." And that's the thing. Honoring the people who died during those attacks should not be a political thing. It shouldn't be. To someone like me, all I see is kids who know their history and want to show some respect for the people who lost their lives and to even risk their lives during those attacks. It shouldn't be a political statement. Being patriotic, it shouldn't be a political view. It shouldn't be. John F. Kennedy, a Democrat, that guy was patriotic as hell, man. That guy was very patriotic. Sadly, the Democratic Party today is the exact opposite. And that is what a lot of people would say. If Kennedy was alive today, he would be viewed as a conservative. Because everything he stood for, strong military, patriotic, right? He was extremely patriotic. The guy would have been seen as a conservative. Why? Because now apparently being patriotic, loving your country, is seen as a conservative thing. Well, shame on this high school for punishing these kids, man. I just gotta ask. What did these kids say? Can we fly a Black Lives Matter banner on the football field? I'm pretty sure the school would have said yes. And again, the superintendent said we denied this request because we didn't want to trigger people who might find this offensive. Well, what if these kids wanted to fly Black Lives Matter flags on the field? Would you have allowed that? I'm pretty sure you would have, because these schools are filled with people who do not care about the history of this country, who are willing to do anything to indoctrinate your kids, make them forget their history. That way, when they come of age, they'll just gladly vote away their rights, the rights that our founding fathers fought so dearly to obtain. But again, that's just me, man. So again, I would say I'm proud of these kids. These kids are young, and they know that we should never forget what happened during 9/11. But unfortunately now, I think that a generation, at least the current one, is being indoctrinated into thinking that it is okay to forget. Right? Here's the thing. A leftist on Twitter, I remember seeing a leftist on Twitter put a tweet that says, "America should just get over 9/11. It's in the past." And someone actually replied with, "Well, can you get over slavery? It's in the past." And then that person got triggered. But it's true. It's always these leftists who are saying conservatives should forget about 9/11. It happened 19 years ago. People should just move on. And I say, well, you should move on the slavery issue because we don't have it anymore. But again, that's just me. What do you guys think? Do you think the students did the right thing by defying the officials of the school? Do you think the school did the wrong thing by suspending these kids from the team? And do you think that the relatives of these kids are going to be voting Trump instead of Biden, considering that all they did was just fly two flags. I don't know if it was a third flag, the American flag. But all I know is that they flew a blue line flag and a red line flag. But do you think their parents and their relatives are going to be voting for Biden? Nah, I don't think so. But what do you think? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video. And I will see you guys in a bit in regards to an alleged arsonist. In this case, he basically tried to set up a fire, and he gets stopped by a woman with a gun. Boy, is it fun! I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Stick around for that. If you cannot, I'll see you guys next time.